Hello everyone, happy Friday, and welcome to Where is Zur, the IGN show where we find Zur and we look at his inventory together. I'm Ty Guy Travis, and today you can find Zur down here on Earth in the European Dead Zone. He is right here next to the Winding Cove. You'll find him in a cave, on a cliff near a cave right up here. Alright, once you touch down in the Winding Cove, go ahead and hop on your Sparrow, go straight ahead and turn to the right. Once you go up a little ridge, you'll see that there's a cave, and when you go in it, you will find Zur hanging out on the side of a cliff up there. Here he is in all of his glory. Let's go ahead and take a look at that inventory this week. So first up, he is selling the Prospector. This is a grenade launcher that I've never really liked, but if you don't have it in your collection, go ahead and add it there. Then there's Orpheus Rig, fantastic hunter exotic. Unfortunately, this week, as is the case with all of the exotic armor, is not good. 61 overall stats, very low for what you'd expect from an exotic, where you'd want 68 or 69, somewhere around there. And you should not buy this. Similarly, Fang Pauldron, I quite like this exotic for Titans if you're playing a void shield throwing guy. Unfortunately, it's only 63, which is, again, on the low end of exotics. And then finally, Crown of Tempests, also a great exotic, however, it's 62. So a bit of a wash this week, in my opinion. One of my least favorite exotic weapons, armor that's all really low stat, unfortunately. Although the exotics themselves are good, you should definitely pick them up if you don't have them. But yeah, not great this week in the exotic category. So let's move on to legendary weapons. First up, he's got Cold Denial. This has got Pulse Monitor, Eye of the Storm. Not a bad roll, not a good roll. I would probably skip this. We've seen definitely better pulse rifles here in Zur's inventory recently. Then we've got Grid Skipper. This has Heating Up and High Impact Reserves. This one's interesting. Maybe I'd put it in the same tier as the last pulse rifle we just looked at, but it is got some potential depending on your play style with this. It's also got high caliber rounds, which I quite like on the old pulse rifle. So not a bad one to think about. I also just like Grid Skipper in general. Finally, Ikelos SMG. This is got pulse monitor and surrounded. Might be good. Very situational since you've got to be surrounded by enemies. And, you know, the reload speed is already pretty good on submachine guns. Handling is always good as well on submachine guns. But, you know, we've definitely seen better rolls for this submachine gun. So you definitely don't need it. And it's not the best we've seen. Timeline's Vertex. Firmly planted. You know, I don't have a problem with firmly planted on fusion rifles. Elemental Capacitor, however, I really don't like. So I guess you can pick this up if you need it. Range Masterwork, not bad there. But overall, this is sort of a mid fusion rifle. Lots of mid weapons in general this week from what we've looked at so far. All right, then we've got Hollow Words with Quick Draw and Disruption Break. This could be all right for PvE, but not necessarily the best in the world. Then we've got Corsair's Wrath. No Distractions and Unrelenting. This could be good, maybe in PvP if you've got a use case for using that. But you know, reducing flinch is really useful in PvP. However, I think we've also seen better ones here. You know, Unrelenting and No Distractions, it really is a PvP weapon, and then it's got also the charge time masterwork. So, you know what, maybe this, I'll put this slightly above all the other ones we've looked at this week. This one maybe is worth your time and consideration, because if you're a PvP guy like me, this could be this has potential, certainly. And finally, we've got Night Watch Scout Rifle with Outlaw multi-kill clip. What can I say? This is frequently people's favorite pair of perks. It's also got a range masterwork, which is great on Scout Rifle. So this maybe is probably my top pick this week. Outlaw and kill clip, pretty easy choice for, you know, better reload time and increased damage based on kills that you've done. Could be really good for PvE and PvP if you're killing lots of people. Scout Rifle, which I doubt, but you know, it's got potential. So that's definitely the best one this week. Other than that, everything else is kind of mid. This linear fusion rifle, maybe you'll have some luck with, but yeah, nothing super exciting this week in terms of weapons. Finally, we're going to move on to the armor. Titan armor this week. Let's take a quick look. Not great. All right, so we've got 59 overall. Good news about this one, it's got low mobility, so if you're looking for high resilience, high strength, may be useful to you, but it's just so low overall stat, you probably don't want to pick it up. Over here, even worse, I mean, it's got slightly more stats overall, but it's got 15 in mobility, which are not great for Titans, so definitely don't buy this. The helmet is terrible. Don't buy it, enough said. And the boots are just okay. I mean, 63 is like the minimum I'll ever go with armor. Unfortunately, it's got 15 mobility, which sort of disqualifies it for me, but hey, maybe you like mobility on a Titan. I think that's crazy, but to each his own. So that's it for Titans this week. Let's move on to our next class. All right, we found Zur again. Let's go ahead and take a look at the armor for Warlocks this week. All right, so for Warlocks, let's take a quick little look here. All right, we got one with potential, maybe two. Here we go. This one's got 58, high mobility. Some people like Warlocks with high mobility. I'm so-so on it. I've got some builds that maybe work for it, but most don't. 58 overall, though, is very low, so you should not buy this. 63 overall, much better. Again, 63 is sort of my bottom line, but 24 mobility and 20 discipline. The thing I like about this roll is it's incredibly spiky, so even though it's not got that high of stats overall, it might fit with a certain build you're trying to do if you're trying to max out mobility or do something weird like that, so maybe consider this if you need it. And then the star of the show this week for Warlocks is, of course, this one. It's got 64 overall. Mobility is pretty low. Intellect is very high. Recovery is also pretty good. So if you're doing a build that relies on it super heavily and maybe needs to stay alive with recovery, very good right here. So I would consider this one definitely. And then finally, this one's 60 overall, quite low, and it's not very spiky either. So kind of a generic piece of armor. He just pulled this one out of his closet, I think. So yeah, I probably wouldn't buy that one either. So aside from the helmet, maybe the chest piece if you have a really specific use case, but that's it for Warlocks. Let's move on. All right, and here we are to take a look at the armor for Hunters.
I bring gifts of the nine.
All right, let's take a quick look here. 61, 61, 59, 62. Okay, so nothing really great for Hunters right off the bat there. We've got 61 here, high mobility, very high discipline. I like the spikiness. Unfortunately, the overall stats of 61 certainly disqualify it for me as being God tier, but maybe you have a use case for this. Then we've got 61 here as well. Kind of a generic piece of armor. Low intellect and mid stats everywhere else, so, you know, not super exciting. The helmet, 59 overall. This is a pretty bad piece of armor, frankly. And then finally the boots, 62. This is the highest I got this week. It's also the most interesting one. It's got 24 resilience, 22 strength, so it is very spiky. Again, maybe you have a specific use case for this that makes it more valuable than its 62 overall stat distribution might suggest. However, we've definitely seen better boots for the Hunters here from Zur, so this isn't anything to write home about, certainly, and you know, you might just want to wait for something that's got higher stats. And that is it for Hunters. That's all for Zur this week, guys. Hopefully this was useful to some of you guys. Again, I'm Ty Guy Travis, and you can find us here every week talking about Zur and looking at his inventory. And for all things related to Destiny 2 and looter shooters, stick with IGN.